Love podcasts, hate nonsense. It's the Politics Show podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Nothing from the gallery.
Nothing. Yeah, they're in a mood. They're moody back there.
They'll start muttering to themselves in a minute anyway.
Moody back there. You'll start laughing at something else. It's nothing to do with the programme.
I love when they have a good time back there without us. Sometimes I come out of interviews and the man who won't be named, I go, what did you think? And he's like, I don't know. I'm here for the cameras.
I have neither critically engaged with the work you've completed, and if I had, I wouldn't tell you my opinion about it anyway.
I think it's the latter. Do you know that? I think that he's being polite and he's saving.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, he's like...
Right.
Should we...
Well, first of all, how are you?
Yeah, good. Can I actually just go straight in with something that's been bothering me this weekend?
Please.
Oh, sorry. How are you?
Great, thank you. What's been bothering you about this weekend?
The uptick in like Twitter users, X users, just like forgetting to cover up how much they hate women.
Right, okay.
Because you know we go from a benchmark of like, okay, there's two types of man. This is not okay. Can I just say there is a normal man.
Yeah.
There is normal man.
Good of you to give us that.
With the people who rise above the parapet, there are two categories of man.
Right.
Okay, who aren't in the normal stream, right? And it's either performative, I love women so much that I'm going to tell you how hard women have it all the time.
Yeah, could never be me.
The sort of man that like cries over the fact that women have like a period.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm the other type of man.
Yeah, the other, that's Ed.
Yeah.
Listens to Chapel Roan.
Exactly.
Mole Rat.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
Sometimes you guys forget to disguise how much you hate women.
Yeah,
and it
absolutely.
slips out.
Yeah.
And it happened this weekend with Declan Rice and his girlfriend.
Right.
And now normally you're going to be thinking, why are you telling me about something so boring as a wag, right?
Well.
But I think this has wider social implications.
Okay.
So,
Go on.
so Declan Rice and his girlfriend went viral this weekend again for her being quote unquote mid, and a couple of Twitter users questioning why he's with her when she's so mid and he could have a model.
Right. Okay. You go on. You carry on. You comment.
No,
on it.
I was actually passing the floor. But would you like me to make my comment?
You can, if you would like to pass the baton to me, you may. Declan Rice is mid.
Yeah.
So, without being particularly au fait with what his missus looks like, but it would scan for me that they were both mid. That would add up. Particularly because they've been together since before he was a successful Premier League and England international footballer. So, two mids fall in love,
And presumably as well, she's been with him through some pretty hard times and supported him because before
no
someone
doubt.
becomes a footballer, if they're like on retainer with a team or whatever, they don't earn anything.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Like the academy lifestyle, it is brutal. The sort of the competition that if you get cut, and you've basically sacrificed qualifications, everything else about your life, and now have absolutely nothing. There's a really interesting piece to be made actually about life in football academies and what it means. So yeah, if she's gone with him through that to being in the good time, the big times. So what if she's mid?
It's just very interesting because we're at a point, we're at this very bizarre precipice where there's like a lot of men are having thoughts and they're publishing them. And there's like the school of thought that's like, all women are sluts and they're after your money, don't trust them.
Yeah.
And then there's the pick the trad wife, pick the woman who'll love you, don't pick the model. And then there's also like, if she just stays at home and she doesn't have her own life, her life revolves around you, then she's worthless, get someone else. And, like the kind of neo Miss Independent school of thought.
Yeah.
She buys her own bags and that sort of thing. And then you have Candace Owen in the middle of all of this. Candace Owen, who recreated the Gloria Steinem infamous picture where she's holding the placard and she's like, we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We can, maybe they'll let us have a credit card. Oh, maybe they'll let us buy our own houses. Candace Owen, who earns her own money. Yeah. Yeah. She did this with a placard that says, make him a sandwich. Now, this annoys me for two reasons, Ollie. Because the first reason is Candace Owen has a job. You earn your own money. You go on television and you talk about your opinions. And I've seen you in London a few times, down at News UK. Where's he? All right? Who's making his sandwich while you're here? Until you are exclusively swiping his visa, right, and living off of his income, and you're doing nothing, I don't care about your placard.
Okay, yeah.
The second reason, men do not think women are funny, and that is proof of purchase, okay? We've had the sandwich joke how many times, all right? What's new? If you're going to be a misogynist, let's be creative about it.
Yeah.
Make me laugh.
Do we... And then it's okay?
I can appreciate a good misogynistic joke, okay? But when it's like, make me a sandwich.
It's boring, yeah.
Yeah.
No
I'm like, oh, you got
not.
any knock-knocks back there? You know what I mean? You got any jibes? You got any puns?
It's the humour from another year, yeah. It's not good. It's not good. It's sort of naughties lad misogyny, I would say, the make me a sandwich stuff, yeah. Tired. Cliched even.
Why would you not be making your partner a sandwich if you love them? Why would you not be doing that anyway?
Well, it's nice, isn't it? It's nice to make a sandwich for someone.
But this idea that...
Crucially, a breakfast item, though.
Yeah. Yeah. But this idea that women who go to work don't also do a lot of the housework.
Unseen labour. Emotional labour. Chores around the house.
Make me a sandwich. Do you know what, Candice? Make me a sandwich, all right? I'm tired.
What's your favourite type of sandwich?
What's my favourite type of sandwich?
Yeah. You want Candace Owens to make you a sandwich? What's in it?
Maybe like a corn chicken Caesar salad sandwich. Quite into them.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah, how about you?
Sausage.
Okay.
No, it is.
All right.
For breakfast. I love it. No, look, the Declan Rice thing happens basically every time there's a major tournament and they cut to the crowd and the wags are there. And, you know, shock, horror, football fans, misogyny. Who saw that one coming? But also, like, who are we to say or dictate what type of woman, first of all, any of them should go out with, but second of all, what type of woman any of their partners should be? Because surely the answer is, like, they can be whoever they want to fucking... Like, it's just... Oh. Why do people care? Do you know what I mean? Like, why does it bother you?
I think because they have to live vicariously through their favourite football player. I think that's why.
Yeah.
They have to be so inside the head, they have to even imagine that they're in the bedroom with them. You know what I mean?
Like Arsenal and West Ham fans have a problem with Declan Rice's missus potentially being mid, because when they're trying to think about themselves having sex with her, it's a buzzkill. Is that the contention? Yeah?
That's what I said.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
For what it's worth, by the way, she is a good-looking woman, but it doesn't matter if we say it doesn't matter if she is a good or mid or not good-looking woman.
Yeah.
It actually, it's the bizarre commentary on who can and can't date a man. And, you know, I tweeted about this and then, like, some of the replies were like, exactly, you look at her and you think she could be a mother, but you look at Taylor Swift and you think childless. And it's like...
She had a bad one actually yesterday, didn't she, Taylor Swift?
I know, but if you just think a couple of months ago, she packed that stadium out even more full than it was yesterday.
Yeah.
With people there. You know, you couldn't
What do you think costs more, ticket to a Taylor Swift concert or ticket to the Super Bowl?
That's a good question. In America, probably Taylor Swift.
I think.
Yeah, people were paying like $1,000 to sit on the floor and stuff. Minimum.
Fuck.
Yeah. That's before
No,
resale.
there must have been cheap seats for the Super Bowl that were not that expensive.
Yeah, but even for Taylor, the cheap seats were like, I remember seeing something about them being like $320. Here, of course, nowhere near that.
What were they here?
I think ours, Liverpool, I think we paid 75.
It's quite reasonable.
And I could smell her.
Right.
So I was that close.
So, yeah, her boy, Kelsey, took a beating, didn't he? Chiefs lost in the Super Bowl. Massive cultural moment.
Yes. And I think, have I given you my projection now for the next year after Travis Kelce lost the Super Bowl?
Please.
So the Eagles won.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson was there supporting the Eagles.
Okay.
I believe he announced them.
Right.
Am I right, Sean? Do you know what I mean?
He's not even listening.
Anyway, so Taylor Swift leaves Travis Kelce, goes and dates Pete Davidson.
Right.
See you next year at the Super Bowl.
We do like the opening 10 minutes of the show is like the only right type of woman that a woman can be is the woman she wants to be. Okay. And then it's like your boyfriend lost the Super Bowl, so she's going to shag the other famous guy associated with the team that beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I say I wasn't a hypocrite?
No, you didn't. You've never made that claim, Ava Santina. Yeah, they did. I haven't watched the game. I've watched the halftime show. I don't care about the sport. Like, do you know what I mean? NFL is the sport that sometimes comes on autoplay on Sky after you've watched Super Sunday. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're at your mate's house, you've watched the football, maybe you've had some dinner, you come back into the living room, and then Sky is just, and it's now you're watching the Eagles play someone.
Right.
That is the extent to which I really engage with the sport. I started watching it during lockdown because I just had so little to watch. I just started watching some American football because I think they were playing when we were possibly locked down. That was the moment. If it was going to grab me, it could have grabbed me then, and it didn't grab me. I don't find it interesting.
It's a bit too stop-start, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not enough flow to it. I don't like games that they're essentially designed to surface advertising, and yet here we are. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to do the advertising thing.
I thought it was amazing. I was saying to Sean this morning, I was like, the European mind cannot conceive of how an American does advertising. Like, when you watch the halftime show, like, first, the entire stadium is an advert for Apple.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you go through the Apple logo
Yeah.
to be confronted by PlayStation.
Yes.
And it's the entire pitch.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The European mind could never.
Yeah, we're not operating on that level.
No,
you get like during the World Cup final, there's like an advert where Lionel Messi drinks like a Pepsi Max.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, how gauche. Discussing product placement. Lionel, how could you? And then the Americans like, yes! 5 billion for 30 seconds of advertising!
Then it'll be
Give it to me!
It'll literally be like some food that is poisonous, a drink that is poisonous, and then it'll be
Sydney Sweeney drinking a drink that's poisonous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then someone's washing with some kind of shower gel.
Yes.
Poisonous.
Yes.
And then
Microplastics,
then it's
forever chemicals.
some kind of pill.
Yeah. Oh,
where they're
big
like,
time.
make our suicidal thoughts.
That was good.
Thank you.
Have you done that before? Voice acting work?
No, I haven't.
You could go into that.
Well,
yeah.
look, employ me.
I'm here. I'm available. Yeah. Were you expecting Kendrick Lamar to make a political statement in his halftime show?
How dare you? Because I wanted to ask you that question.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Ask me the question.
Ollie, why do you think just because he's a black man he has to make a political statement?
Yeah. Fine. I think naively, I expected him to make a statement perhaps more than he did, and I feel. We're talking about it a lot at the desk this morning, so I'm trying to summarise the conversation we've had, be original and not steal your talking points, also not steal Sean's talking points.
Oh,
as
no,
well.
take it. We offered him to come on the podcast. He didn't want to come on.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, fair. Look, you have Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam, kind of chasing Kendrick around the stage, censoring him. I think he at one point he describes Kendrick as like too reckless, too ghetto, too loud, something like that. And after SZA sings, Samuel L. Jackson's like, that's more American, cool, relaxed, calm, or something like that. And so you assume the show is kind of about Kendrick refusing to be the type of black artist, black performer that everybody else wants him to be. And is both because he got he got a bit of heat in 2020 because he didn't really go for Black Lives Matter in the way that people perhaps were expecting him to. He's very introspective. His personal philosophy is quite peculiar because he's a deeply religious person, and I think, you know, again, what do I have to go on? I'm talking about the lyrics to his music, so it's obviously open to interpretation. But my understanding of him is that he would probably always turn to a more sort of Catholic, confessional, introspective, moralizing than before he would kind of comment on current affairs, i.e. the election of Donald Trump, which I think a lot of people were expecting this show to be a direct rebuke to, an interaction with. And it wasn't really that, other than, of course, having one of the most famous black men in the country be Uncle Sam. But again, that won't have been the sort of thing. They would have had that in planning for probably up to a year, and won't be a response to Donald Trump and his anti-DEI thing. But I think my interpretation of it was essentially him saying, you know, I am not going to be the type of person you expect me to be. He's always been, has his own political opinions. He hasn't fallen for kind of liberal identity politics. He's very anti-cancel culture. He says what he says, and he thinks what he thinks. And so I think, even though there was obviously the imagery of there was that split American flag that he was stood in the middle of, Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam, like it had sort of political tones and political symbols, but wasn't really sort of a direct rebuke to Trump or indeed a political statement. It was more about the fact that he won 5 Grammys by calling Drake a nonce. Do you know what I mean? Which almost in a way is an expression of power, because it's like you're all losing your minds about this thing that's happening in our national politics and you're expecting me to talk about that. But actually, I've had far more of an impact on American culture in the last year than you guys have had or probably will ever have, because I won 5 Grammys, I did billions of streams, and I'm now doing an extended 15-minute bit where I basically tell this guy that it's game over, as the lights, when the lights went down at the end of the show and it was sort of lit up behind him, said game over, right? And he's dancing on the PlayStation controller buttons and all the rest of it. And I guess I would finally say that perhaps the reason I expected him to be political is because I saw him at Glastonbury, where he closed out the show with a kind of a very forthright expression of support of abortion rights, and then was wearing a crown of thorns, and as he rapped, became increasingly drenched in blood. And so you're sort of thinking, okay, you know, not afraid of a political statement, but I think that stage, the halftime Super Bowl show, that stage is never the place where a political statement gets made, because that stage it's like the high altar of American capitalism and American consumerism. That's in the way that we're talking about it right now, whether it's the level and the depth and the expense of the advertising that happens around it. You do not get to play that stage with any hint of, I guess, cultural critique about the symbolism and about what it is to play on that stage. Like Rage Against the Machine aren't getting booked to play the halftime show. Do you know what I mean? The only way that Rage Against...
Kneecap 2026,
yeah, Kneecap will get it. The only way those acts get anywhere near that stage is if they go deep cover for like 20 years, pretend to not be the thing they are, and then at the moment when the lights come on, all of a sudden deliver some kind of astonishing rebuke to American society. And even then the cameras get cut after 30 seconds, you know?
Okay, so Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
What you were talking about. I thought that was so I saw that as like a mechanism, or like it's almost like the American morality police, right? He was like commenting on each act, quote unquote. And he was like the voice of the American sofa viewer, right?
Yeah.
Of what is expected. Like, so when he was saying that's too ghetto, it's like and then he was saying like that's much better now. It's like the morality police.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think, okay, this connection is going to be so weak, and I wish I thought about it before. I understand why that works and why he didn't want to politicize his own body in that performance. It's different to what he did at Glastonbury, because that's an observation rather than politicizing yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I think the knee-jerk expectation that a black man who's performing on that stage would have to be political. It doesn't have to mean that they're politicizing themselves. They can make a political comment without involving themselves.
Yeah.
God, that was shite. Should I do that?
No, it's not. No, I do. I understand the thrust of what you're saying, and I also think, what level of statement, what level of protest, because there was someone, I think one of the dancers sort of broke out a Palestine flag, didn't they, and got sort of bundled,
tackled to the floor.
Yeah, tackled to the floor. That said sort of
Sudan
and Gaza, didn't it? Yeah. So how that person gets treated, and whether or not Kendrick is sort of presses charges or indeed sort of campaigns for their release will be an interesting bellwether of how
there was
how
some
he
confusion
feels.
this morning about whether he was actually a performer or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was?
Yeah.
Is that for sure? Where have you seen that?
The NFL said it.
The
He breached our security. The NFL owning up to that. Yeah, look.
I wonder why that happened then, because why would that security guard not know what was going to be in the performance, so not know what?
Well, I think that's probably why it took them a while to pull him down, because initially they probably don't realise whether it's part of the performance or
and then
not.
it was. So why did they pull him down?
Because he was waving a Palestine flag, I imagine.
Or was he meant to be?
No. I think that performer was doing their own protest.
Oh. Well, fair enough.
Yeah. So, and obviously got jumped. Yeah, I get
That's
you.
bold, isn't it? That's some real activism there, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's telling because I didn't see on the official broadcast. I didn't see that.
Did you not?
No, I saw an alternate angle that someone else posted.
I don't think. I don't think I saw it either. I only saw it this morning when I came in. And,
but it's like
Tom said it to me.
Can we? I guess in the same way when we're talking about women and like the only right type of woman a woman can be is the one she chooses to be for herself. And in the same way, it's like if Kendrick Lamar can say as much or as little politically as he so chooses in that moment, and I saw Tom Morello playing a gig last week. I don't think he was as rage. I think probably by himself. And behind him, there's an American flag turned upside down, black and white, and across it says "Nazi lives don't matter." That man is not playing a Super Bowl halftime show.
I don't think that would float well at the...
No, exactly. That's not happening.
Apple being like, well, what if we turned it round? Yeah. And it didn't say Nazi.
How about red, white, and blue? Have we thought about that?
Yeah, you see what Kendrick did.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like the blood and the Crip symbolism that's there. I think Serena Williams was doing a dance move that's called a Crip walk. I'm not going to pretend to understand the significance of it, but like that sounds fairly sort of fairly gang related. But then equally, you're going, well, Serena, Drake's ex, SZA.
I don't know if she is Drake's ex or whether he just fantasized a lot about her.
What, Drake?
Yeah. Have you seen?
What with hindsight, when you talk about him, you're like, God, he does feel like a wrong un.
He does feel like a wrong un. Did you see what he was wearing the other week? Those like blue plastic cowboy boots with yellow shorts and a white T-shirt that said like, wait till you see this. And it was an arrow pointed at his dick. He's just out in public like this.
I mean, how would you respond to the entire world listening and laughing and loving you being called a nonce?
Can I just be really clear?
Which he rejects, denies.
Which he denies. I would just like to say, separate from these allegations, I don't think that anyone would ever be accusing me of noncery.
Yeah.
Because I haven't ever partaken in it or given any indication. When was the, do you know how old the men I date are?
Yeah, well, no, I think that's I wasn't going to make that joke. I guess the thing is, did you hear Kendrick say he had a sort of segue in there about being sued, and he left out some of the lyrics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he didn't call him a paedophile, and they still had the bar about striking a chord that's A minor. Yeah. But the literal direct like paedophile line is he didn't say the word paedophile.
It's not really.
Because Drake is suing Universal Music Group.
Really?
Yeah, which represents both of them.
Well, do you remember when Elon Musk called that diver
Yeah.
a paedophile?
Yes.
The diver lost, didn't he? I think the diver did lose.
I thought the diver won.
Did he?
The diver won.
Did he?
Yeah.
No, I told you.
Stop.
Yeah.
The diver lost.
I told you.
I thought he won.
You all doubt me.
Elon Musk wins defamation case over pedo guy tweet.
Elon Musk did not defame a British caver who helped him last year's rescue of trapped Thai schoolboys by calling him a pedo guy, a US jury has found. Unsworth sought £145 million in damages, arguing that the tweet damaged his reputation.
Why did he lose? Because Americans were like, this is free speech, buddy.
Musk told the court pedo guy was common in South Africa where he grew up.
As what? A term of endearment?
Everyone was calling me pedo guy.
That was a you thing, Elon.
That's
You want to have a free speech?
awful.
You want to have a free speech? I could have sworn that he won that case.
Jurors took less than an hour to return their unanimous verdict.
Should we have the free speech conversation then? We're talking about free speech?
Well, we might as well, mightn't we? We
Should-
are going to come to Andrew Gwynn, by the way, you guys.
Yes, sorry. Yeah,
But then I think that links nicely after we've had
I
this
think
one.
Gwyn's a free speech. It's a conversation about free speech, isn't it?
Yeah. So we were talking about where's the upper limit to free speech?
Is there a limit to free speech?
Well, we were saying we've both been on panels recently with people who describe themselves as
Free speech absolutists.
yes. So
Yeah.
there is no line.
Which is just obviously, I would say, an operationally insane thing to say.
Especially, I've seen a few commentators over the last couple of days reacting to Kanye West by saying, well, he's really testing the limit of where free speech.
Yeah. So I think Kanye's different. I have never, will never, take a great deal of umbrage with what he says because I believe him to be insincere. Like, every single time Kanye West drops an album, he finds a new way to provoke and offend and outrage. And he has been doing it since the first Trump White House term when he went and put on a MAGA cap. And we all saw that his unlock code was 000. Was it 1234?
No, it's all zeros.
Yeah, he had that insanely simple iPhone lock code. Whether it was saying that, like, calling Harriet Tubman, I think, did he call her like an Uncle Tom or something? He said something worse than that, I think. Like, he finds new ways to offend, right? Every time. And obviously this time he's just gone full anti-Semite Nazi because...
Well, he's been doing this since even Bush. You remember during Hurricane Katrina where he was just like, George Bush does not care about black people. And everyone was like, how can you just, that's true, but how can you say that?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, rocking up to the Grammys with your wife in cling film.
I still feel really, I just thought that was so vulgar. I really thought it was vile. But yeah, I suppose what you're saying is he's just pushed and pushed and pushed until the shock.
Yeah, and now it's kind of it's run out.
Yeah.
The only thing he can do is sort of endorse Nazism, which again I don't believe or think him to actually be a raging anti-Semite.
Well, Azalea Banks, who I think it's only right that we talk about Azalea Banks
In the context of free speech and limits. Yeah. Okay, fine.
She said to Jesus.
What was her explanation for Kanye tweeting in the way that he's tweeting right now, Ava?
No. What she actually said was that he was extremely uncreative with his Hitler jokes.
Yes.
She was like, your ability to rap does not compare to like most people who are out there right now because you are really uncreative. Look at what you just said about Hitler and the Nazis. She's like, school children are doing this. This is like proper baseline anti-Semitism. And I think she said something on the lines of like, if you're going to do it, be creative with it.
Say it with your chest.
I guess this is what I meant by the misogyny thing.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Hitler Nazi thing, right? Over the past few weeks has lost its shock factor, right? Because it's something that I would say people with not a lot of brain do, because they know it's like can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Yeah, it's a shibboleth. It's like and it's particularly within the context of this conversation about free speech. Yeah, absolutely. But you can, because Elon Musk has demonstrated you can do it behind the presidential pulpit.
Well, Calvin Robertson couldn't do it at that business church that he's involved in because they ousted him.
Yeah, that was a bridge too far for him. Didn't Azealia say like he would never have done this when he was going out with Amber Rose?
Yes, he did. Yes, she did.
and made lewd sexual reference to Bianca Censori's lack of capacity to basically keep Kanye West creatively stimulated.
Yeah.
Which is a polite way of saying what she tweeted.
Yes. Anyway, back to our earlier conversation about Declan Rice.
Azealia, the problem with her, sometimes she has moments of complete clarity that are like piercing and funny, and she somehow finds a way to say the thing that you haven't been able to verbalize.
Yeah, like when she dug up her cat and boiled it.
And then she does things like that. And says some of the most heinous and morally reprehensible things.
She was saying something quite morally reprehensible this morning, and then I was like, but I get what she means by that. She was saying...
You're going to have to clarify which one it was now.
She said... Right, hear me out here. Just give me a little bit of
grace.
Yeah,
I'm here. Hey, this is a free speech absolutist space, Ava Santina.
She said... So she uses the F word to describe gay men.
Okay.
Right? This was pointed out to her, like, how dare you use this word? Why do you think you can do it?
Yeah.
And she quote tweeted it with, because you lot think you can listen to music with the N-word in. There's nothing different. And I thought about it for a minute. I sat there and I tumbled it. And I thought, yeah. Maybe, I'm not saying I agree entirely, but I'm like, a point has been made.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, look, I think that there are...
She's quite Trump-like, actually. Because in everything that Trump says, there's a little kernel of what he said about Gaza, right? About, like, we should,
Riviera of the Middle East. Casinos.
He actually provoked most of the media into questioning, well, actually, who is going to be rebuilding Gaza and who's going to pay for it? And are we really going to let all these people languish? They're returning to Gaza, but are we going to let them languish there in like rubble and unexploded bombs? And who's responsible for this? It actually was quite thought-provoking. So now this is what I mean by Azealia. She says all of this mental shit. And then you're like... You're basically like, you'll read a tweet of hers every now and again, and you'll be like, oh, agree. And then you go on to the next tweet, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. I think clearly free speech has limits. In the same way you didn't say the F word, right? In the same way that I won't say the N word. In the same way that I won't run into a crowded theatre and shout fire. And I think most interestingly and crucially, and this is probably where the most live part of this conversation is now, to just keep it within the medium of talking about Nazis and Hitler. Hitler makes very skillful use of the radio, right, to secure election in the first place. It's the sort of his voice, the tenor of his speeches, the meter of them translates very well in the audio format. And I think that provokes questions about, and it did and still does provoke questions about what we deem as acceptable to broadcast, right? And whether or not there is an editorial justification, for example, and American broadcasters took a different view to this in relation to Donald Trump. I'm not saying that the two of them are similar. In his first term, where they stopped broadcasting whole or indeed in just any of his speeches, right? Where they took the view that actually it's irresponsible for us to broadcast this, that we're not going to just provide the president with the platform to say whatever he likes.
Yeah, unfettered access to American ears, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in the context of social media, where anyone can post anything, which in theory can go as viral as you like, where is the limit? Where do we say that person has a responsibility to be more precautionary with the things that they say? Where do we say that person doesn't? Because I'm deeply uncomfortable with, in the context of the Southport stuff, some of those Facebook mums and weird racist blokes getting longer than a year, sometimes 2-year jail terms for writing horrible things, horrible racist things. I don't think that's worth 2 years in prison.
Oh, really?
No, I don't. I don't think if you have 200 Facebook friends and you write, someone go and blow up the mosque, I don't think that's a 2-year prison term.
I do not agree with you at all.
We'll come to that in a second. But if you are Elon Musk and you have tens or hundreds of millions of social media followers and you write that comment, I have more of a problem with that, because I think the scale and size of your platform bestows upon you a higher responsibility.
I think you've contradicted yourself.
Why?
Because you said in setting that up in one of your premises, Mr. Aquinas, you said
Please, you can call me Thomas.
You said that a post can go viral.
Yeah.
Any post can go viral.
Yeah, it can, yeah.
So if you look back, and imagine if I could have been able to find the page quicker, but if you look back at the bloke areas, Eddie Murray, the guy in Southport who posted on LinkedIn 3 hours after the attack that his children were there at the attack.
3 hours after the attack, he posted on LinkedIn that his children were there.
They weren't. And that a migrant did it.
My guy is fake newsing on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and then it was removed by LinkedIn, but the screenshot went viral.
Yeah.
Now, does he not have a responsibility in that? Because you could make an argument that that's incitement. Because why did he said it was a migrant? You don't do that unless you're attempting to stir up some kind of racial hatred, right?
Yeah.
Or racial furor.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think that
it's
everyone has equal responsibility when publishing. And I think this is where the question comes in. Should social media sites be publishers? Because if they were publishers and you knew the law about what you could and couldn't post there, you would be more careful. Because people are still in their head thinking that the conversation that like me and you have is palatable to be posted on Facebook. And it's not. You should hear some of the things that are said. But do you know what I mean?
No, look, I think, and this is where it becomes interesting for me, because incitement for violence, and really the precursor to that, which is that othering, that establishment of either another minority, be that based on gender or ethnic background, take your pick, that is the precursor to that incitement to violence. And the for me it's a point of scale. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's distasteful. I think it's morally disgusting. I think a person that verbalizes racist sentiment is worthy of social ostracization. I don't think they're entitled to a job, and if they get sacked because they've said something racist, I think that's their employer's prerogative. Is it criminal?
To say you want to blow up a mosque, yeah. So I would say it is.
So we'll come to that in a second. But first of all, just racism, just not incitement to violence, but just being a racist. Do you think that's a criminal offence?
Well, it depends. It depends. I don't think that question works on its own.
Because then the next step for me when it comes to that incitement to violence is when
I would say that is violent.
When Betty says, I don't think that words are violence. I think they can be an incitement to violence, but I don't think they are violent. When Betty then writes on Facebook, someone should blow up the mosque, do we take that as a serious incitement of violence? Do we take it as a turn of phrase? I think there's an ambiguity there about what she meant, whether she actually seriously meant it. And I'm aware I'm playing devil's advocate on behalf of like a morally disgusting person here, but I think it's right. And does the scale of her platform dictate how severely she should be punished? And I think it should. I think it does. I think it should do, particularly in the digital space.
No, I think it should be blanket.
Yeah.
But I also think that words in themselves, in their own right, can be violent, because you can't judge intent. Like if someone came up to me on the tube and said to me, "You stupid bitch," and said something, I don't know, something about me being a woman, it's not my job to go, those words might have been aggressive, but I do think this will escalate to violence, so I'm going to go about my day as normal. Like, the assumption is, if you're going to say that in the first place, that there is intent here, that there is going to be, that's not the end point of that interaction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it could lead to physical harm. That's why the stalking laws are so crap. Because basically I could stalk you every day and call you every, like, racist trope under the sun, right? But until I actually physically, if I actually try, until I hurt you, you can't do anything about it.
I'm sorry, I know it's not funny, but you follow me around calling me like a cracker for like months. White boy. Racially abusing me.
We should do a bit of Andrew Gwynn, really.
We should, because he's been done. You know, his free speech has been violated, hasn't it?
Andrew Gwynn, can you not just post in a WhatsApp group anymore in peace? Can you not be in a WhatsApp group with a load of people
As an MP,
who might want, some political capital out of you at some point? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say point blank, Ollie, I didn't think that pensioner dying comment was that terrible.
What was the comment? Tell people what the comment was.
I haven't written it down.
Okay. Andrew Gwynn's in a WhatsApp group, and he's been suspended from the Labour Party because of the things he's written in this WhatsApp group, some of which were anti-Semitic, some of which were racist. But the thing that seems to have captured people's imagination more vividly is his remarks about this elderly woman who didn't vote Labour. And she made a request about her bins. I think it was to a local councillor, which prompted Andrew Gwynn to reply in the WhatsApp group in the following manner.
Dear resident, fuck your bins. I'm re-elected and without your vote, screw you. P.S. Hopefully you'll have croaked it by the all-outs.
So what
That apparently refers to local council elections, the all-outs.
So, look, is that a nice thing to say about one of your constituents? No. Is it the worst thing? No. Dare I say it's quite funny? Does he actually think, like, she should die?
Yeah, obviously he doesn't. And if you earnestly think that he actually wanted her dead, touch grass. But this is where it gets... This is where it gets
grass.
a bit... Yeah. a bit... It's where it gets problematic. Gwynn is alleged to have said someone sounds too Jewish and too militaristic from their name. He also asked, is he in Mossad? We'll feel really bad if the guy actually was in Mossad, won't we? And then he gets on to... You never know. That's the point.
He wouldn't tell you if you asked him.
Wouldn't tell you. And then...
Wouldn't be in Mossad for very long if we were around telling everyone, Andrew, would he?
Exactly. You hear them going around being like, oh, I'm in MI5. It's on my LinkedIn. What I learned today while stalking the Iranian,
Whilst monitoring the Iranian chat forums.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where and then further to the anti-Semitic comments. He goes on to Diane Abbott.
Oh, fuck it.
Talks about her historic appearance as a black woman at Prime Minister's questions as a joke, adding that her appearance was because it's Black History Month, apparently. Do you know what, Gwynn? You're in the camp with Candace Owen and Kanye West. If you're going to be racist, give us something new. But what I was about to say, the more salient point is that Mr. Rules, Keir Starmer, is now who made hay out of Frank Hester's racist comments, worse than racist, if there's a scale, of Diane Abbott. He's now got Labour activists and Labour MPs making the similar sort of comments. So Mr. Rules is going to have to start suspending.
Yeah, he is.
He really went for the Tories during that time.
Yeah.
As the sort of the bastion of...
Yeah, well, meanwhile, she was, all the while, she was fucking suspended from the Labour Party, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I just don't... I think I retweeted Calgie, who said something like this. Like, you just won't have any MPs. If your line for it is like when someone said something outrageous in a WhatsApp group, I'm not saying about the anti-Semitic and the racist stuff. I think that's probably a bridge too far. But the whole she can die. Fuck her bins. I mean, that is
He didn't
like
actually say that. He said fuck off. Hope she's croaked it.
yeah. I mean, look, birds of a feather, much of a muchness. It's not particularly funny. I think he could have worded it better. I don't think he's a master of comic timing.
And then I told
not that
her.
Offensive.
Then I told her, "Fuck your bins."
Fuck your bins is a funny thing to say. It objectively is.
It's all very interesting, this entire saga, because this is the third minister that he's lost. Two, actually, so Andrew Gwynn and Tulip Sadiq, to actually, like, Tulip Sadiq and her questionable links to some cash that weren't declared. Okay, Andrew Gwynn, yeah, some racist remarks. Don't know why Louise Haig's in there. Accidentally remembered that she still had a phone and didn't report it quick enough.
Was she doing it? Was it insurance fraud? Wasn't it?
No, can we just talk about what she actually did?
Oh, go on.
She had this phone, this company phone. She reported it stolen. Then she realised she still had it.
Yeah.
But, like, just didn't tell the company or whatever.
Yeah,
and
but
she got a criminal record for it.
Had claimed for it on insurance. So that would be insurance fraud.
But anyway, he knew about it. It was a bit of an unfair reason to sack her. I mean, she was really young as well when she did it. What did you do when you were a kid?
Yeah, dumb shit.
Yeah. I threw a brick through a classroom window once.
Did you?
Yeah, and I got out of it on why would you leave the brick there?
And this is where it comes from.
What do you mean?
The misogyny.
My misogyny.
No, everyone's misogyny. Because if I threw a brick through a window, Ava Santina, and I said, well, why did you leave a brick there? They'd be like, we don't care.
Yeah, but in my
Go
defense,
to prison, all.
But also, like, 50 people encouraged me to do it.
50 people told you to jump off a cliff, Ava. Would you do it?
Yeah, probably. Which is the defence that my mum gave at school. Like, she'll do anything if a crowd is telling her to do it.
What's she like? I think we're going to have to wrap up, you know.
We are going to have to wrap up.
It's a shorty today.
But
I think we could do more on free speech. We need to do male loneliness part 2. There's so much we need to do on this podcast. It's convenient, Ava Santina, isn't it? That there's all of this content. There's all of these things that we want to say.
yeah.
And we sometimes feel like there's not enough time to say them. It's convenient, isn't it?
Oh, because
Yeah.
don't we have a surprise for
We
you?
do. We do have a surprise. There's a surprise next week.
Yeah.
Next week. Buckle up.
Are we going to tell them or will they just find out?
It's up to you. I mean, do you want to tell them?
Well, you're going to get us 5 days a week.
Oh, brother! What?
5 days a week.
Full fat.
That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Fucking hell. A pod for every working day.
Yeah. And if you like adverts,
Oh,
you're
brother.
going to love this one.
Oh, brother.
Don't even start moaning about the adverts, all right? Because that's the reason that we're able to do it.
Yeah. Got to pay the bills somehow.
What was I going to say? So, yeah, we'll see you on Wednesday this week. And then we'll see you Monday, Tuesday,
Wednesday.
Thursday.
And Friday. Fucking A. A-OK. Is that us? I probably would have liked more time to talk about the sort of why
I could have kept going
the
too.
complexities there about free speech, but we just sort of left it with I'm okay with people saying things on Facebook. We'll circle back. I'm sure we'll get time to
let's
explain
definitely
myself.
come back to that because that was actually interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Okay, fine. Yeah, we have.
Should we tell them what we're off to do?
There's another shoot. Yeah, go on. We're taking HIV tests, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled on GSN for that one. And see you all on Wednesday.
See ya.